How does someone then figure out if they're just like, I don't know my direction in life. I don't know what my purpose is, and I want to figure out my purpose. What does the science and spirituality tell us on how people can discover and live their purpose?
So purpose is written in and through us and in and through our past. It's not something that we need to develop on a 8-point list, but it's something that we can discover. Lewis, may we do one more practice?
Sure.
Okay. This practice I call the road of life.
Okay.
I'm going to invite you to close your eyes,
Okay.
do 5 breaths. I invite you to locate a time where you wanted something so badly. That red door was yours. You wanted that job, that school, that team. You wanted him or her or them to say yes. And you did everything right to get that red door. You researched it. You were tactical. You strategized A plus B plus C. That red door was yours. You go for your red door, you grab the handle, but the handle's stuck. And you can't believe it's stuck because you've done everything right. A plus B plus C. You might kick the door, you might rattle the handle, but only because it is stuck. You have to pivot. You pivot 40, 80, 120 degrees, and over there is a wide open, sparkling yellow door. You might have said yellow doors don't exist. You've never heard of yellow doors. On the other side of the yellow door is someone who makes you feel alive, is a job that's more right for you, is a mentor who sees in you beyond what you knew was in yourself, a community where you belong. That yellow door was not what you had wanted. It was better and better for you. And as you sit back now and you think of the stuck red door and the hairpin turn that took you to the wide open yellow door that has everything to do with who you are and where you are today. Was there anyone at that hairpin turn who maybe told you a story? You could have met them for 2 minutes at a party or in a coffee shop. It could have been a counselor, a grandparent who for the first time shared a story you'd never heard before, a trail angel pointing you to the wide open yellow door. And now finally, as you sit way back, stuck red door, hairpin turn, trail angel, and wide open yellow door, how really are the most important parts of our lives found? Is it narrowly through planning? Sure, we have to do our part. But are we less makers of our paths and more discoverers of our journey? And are some of the most profound and important parts of our lives gifts of being in a deep dialogue with the journey of life? And in fact, stuck red door, hairpin turn, trail angel, open yellow door, where in your road of life is your higher power? Where is God? Is God in the wide open yellow door and the stuck red door? Is God in the trail angel and in your openness to be in dialogue with the deep sacred force in us, through us, and around us? Have you been on a spiritual path all along? And when you're ready, I invite you back.
That was beautiful. The road to life.
The road of life.
The road of life.
Which is a spiritual path. We're never off the path. When we're depressed, we're on the path. When we're errant, we're on the path.
What's been the most challenging part of your path?
Well, in The Awakened Brain, I write about what almost broke us, which was my husband and I, for 5 years, struggled with infertility. And it was brutal.
Wow.
You know, Luz, people do not talk about infertility enough. And since sharing the Awakened Brain, men and women, but primarily men, have come up to me and said, you know, my wife and I struggled for 3 years. No one talked about it.
Wow.
There was none of my buddies I could talk about this with. You know, the right child comes in the right way at the right time. Becoming a parent is part of the road of life. And whether it's because you carried a child or carried 2 or 3 children, or through marriage or through adoption, your spiritual child comes. God makes families.
That was the hardest time for you?
By far the hardest time for us was the struggle to find our children
What
in all
was-
time and space.
What was the biggest lesson for you during those 5 years of trying to have kids but not being able to create it at that moment?
I was deeply depressed
Really?
that we weren't conceiving.
How old were you at this time?
So I was 30. My husband was 31.
So you're 19-ish when you had your first kind of depressed season,
Yes.
right? 6-month range.
Which was emerging adulthood. And it
Okay.
was what I now know to be a hardwired spiritual emergence that first boots up as existential struggle. When we expand our spiritual capacity, it at first feels like a half-empty glass of spirituality.
Mm.
But this was different because while there are 3 bridges of spiritual emergence, developmental depressions that open into awakening, if we say yes, there are also hailstorms and rainstorms and very unwanted life events, traumas.
Yeah.
And those are also a knock at the door for spiritual awakening, post-traumatic spiritual growth, a spiritual response to suffering.
Mm.
So my greatest discovery through our struggle of 5 years to find our family was that depression was the prison house of my ego,
Wow.
that I had made myself miserable. I wanted a family so badly. I was so depressed we weren't conceiving. There are 500,000 children in foster care. There are 20 million children up for adoption around the world. I could have been a parent in 3 months, and I made myself miserable
Wow.
because of my ego, my narrow view of what a parent was. And where the world opened up to me was when I realized in this very painful, long journey that what a parent is profound love and ultimate commitment. And it does not matter if they have my nose or, you know,
Your DNA.
yes, at all.
Huh.
It is God brings the soul on earth. It is your
Wow.
child.
Yeah, and if you can imprint a spiritual DNA into someone through your nurture, your guidance, your love, that's almost more important than a physical DNA with a
Oh.
lack of that spiritual guidance.
And that child is your spiritual child. In the same way that you met Marta, your child comes, whether it's through Marta's body or 4 through Marta's body and 2 from another country on earth. Those are your spiritual children.
Yeah.
And through the road of life, God makes sure you find each other.
Hmm.
And you know, in the same way that you knew Marta was your spiritual partner, that this is your spiritual child.
Thank you for watching this video. If you want more inspiring clips like this, make sure to click right here to subscribe and click right here to watch that next video that is specific to support you in your life.